China, not anybody else.
Frenemies. This and more. Streaming on the world's first news OTT, News 9 Plus. Download now.
Hello and a very warm welcome to Game On. I'm Meha Bharadwaj Alter. India are all set to start their new World Test Championship cycle with the first test against West Indies at Winson Park in Roseau, Dominica. They've had a long break. They've had some time vacationing with their families. Some of the players have worked on their fitness in the NCA. They've played a practice game in the West Indies among themselves, and now they are ready. But with the start of this WTC cycle, it is also the beginning of the much talked about transition phase of this Indian team. Seniors like Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli and Ajinkya Rahane are in a period of uncertainty when it comes to their future. While Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli are under pressure to perform given that they haven't shown the consistency expected of them in the last 2 years, for Ajinkya Rahane, it is a period where he's made an amazing comeback. But his every innings would be under scrutiny given he has made his comeback at 35. So while the seniors try to hold on to their positions in the team, the newbies will look to grab this valuable opportunity to cement their place in the side. Next 2 years may not be the best in terms of results, but if the right decisions are taken, this period can pave way for a successful transition in Indian cricket. So, without further ado, then let's introduce our guests on the show. Chetan Narula joins us. He's covered a lot of cricket, and the last time we met in person was actually at the airport in Delhi when he was travelling to cover another cricket series. There's also Vedam Jaishankar here with us, who believes that forget Shubman Gill at 3 or Yashasvi Jaiswal at 3, get Rohit Sharma at 3. Why? There's a very good reason behind that statement from him. We'll ask him. So guys, welcome. I'm excited, frankly. I mean, this is a start of a new World Test Championship cycle. Let me start with Chetan. And, results may not go India's way in the next 1.5, 2 years. But what we'll know is that if the right decisions are taken, we'll know that Indian future is going in the right direction.
Well, Meha, the results have to go in the right direction, don't they? I mean, it's Indian cricket we're talking about. It's a behemoth after all. So
Yeah.
The Indian fans are not going to, leave the selectors on the Indian team. Everybody's going to complain and criticize if the results don't go our way. And let's be honest, I mean, West Indies is not the toughest assignment to start off this WTC cycle, 23-25. So, the right result should be coming our way. I mean, it's almost a full-strength Indian side. Having said that, yes, I think the more important thing is that we're looking at the transition. We're looking at some new names coming up and cementing their places, if not in the playing 11, at least in the first 15. And of course, the seniors, they have to perform now every time they go out to the crease, be it Virat Kohli, be it Ajinkya Rahane, be it Rohit Sharma, or for that matter, be it the bowlers. Everybody has to perform. Everybody has to justify their selection in the playing 11. So, yes, winning is important, but also the transition and the justification of the senior selection.
That's why I want to see what Ajit Agarkar does. A lot has been spoken about his appointment as the chairman of selectors, Vedam. But, how he approaches this period will be interesting, because will he maintain that status quo? Or is he going to take tough decisions? And yes, we saw with the T20 squad, his first assignment for India against the West Indies, he's made sure that the seniors don't return to that squad. So there we kind of have seen what his vision is. But even for the test squad, it's an important period. And it's going to be difficult because after these 2 test matches, we have to wait all the way till December when India travels to South Africa. And that is going to be an extremely tough assignment.
Hi, Meha. Yes, certain things that you did say is right. But, we are only presuming what Ajit Agarkar has done, because he's not come clean. He's not said what his vision is, what he wants to do. He hasn't come clean on that. So we're only presuming that he has had a hand in the T20 selections. See, the problem with Indian cricket is you have 5 selectors. And if it's put to vote and if the other selectors gang up, you don't have much of a chance. We've seen this throughout.
Yeah.
irrespective of who you are or what you want to do. Unless you are like J.R. Vishwanath did. J.R. Vishwanath never allowed anything to be put to vote. When he was chairman of the selection committee, he made it clear right at the beginning that he doesn't want anything to be put on vote. He said, let's sit and discuss and argue maybe for 5 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours, whatever. I'm ready. I'm willing. But we will not put anything to vote. Every single decision has to be unanimous. And I think it worked well that way. They unearthed a lot of good youngsters. And traditionally, when you look at Indian cricket teams, very seldom, especially in the last 25 or 30 years, very seldom has a young spin bowler come good. Spinners need a lot of exposure. They need to take a lot of beating so that they toughen out. But it's right the opposite with the batsmen. It's good to have a lot of young batsmen who have youth and arrogance on their side. But the point with the selector is, are you seeing enough cricket, local cricket, to decide who is a good young batsman? When I say young batsman, it's not just the wham bam type that you see in IPL. You also need people with the right temperament, with the right attitude, that kind of things. Have we gone around and seen? I don't think the selectors have seen enough cricket. Earlier, we had the system of scouts, and they had a lot of faith in scouts. And scouting used to be pakka, it used to be good. But I'm not sure if now you have a system because, let's face it, we have got selectors who haven't played cricket or who haven't played any test cricket or just played 1 or 2 matches.
Yeah.
And they're not the type really who will get a lot of encouragement from, fellow scouts. The challenge also with Indian cricket right now is the presence of agents, because the agents are, their loyalties are different. Their loyalties are not the same as, let's say, a good scout. And, in the hands of a bad agent, when I say bad agent, not bad for the player. For the player, he may be very good, but bad for Indian cricket. In the hands of bad agent, many of these selections could go awry. So I think there's a lot to look after. There's a lot to wonder about each and every selection. But like I said, if you stick to that formula of bringing in batsmen at a very young age, spin bowlers slightly more mature, people who have taken a beating, people who know how to handle that, then we are better off.
Okay, then let's set the first test for you. India will play West Indies at Winson Park in Dominica. India had lost the World Test Championship final to England, but again, West Indies, they haven't lost a series since 2002. The last time India toured the Caribbean was in 2019 when they won the series 2-1. Ajinkya Rahane scored 100 in the first test. He was given the Man of the Match award. In the second test, Hanuma Vihari got 100 and a 50 to help India win the second test match. So the results have gone India's way since 2002. It would be important to remember that this is a team in transition though. This is a team that will have a new number 3, and this is a team with a pace attack which has a grand total of 88 test wickets between them, with 52 belonging to Mohammad Siraj. The West Indies may have been knocked out of the ODI World Cup later this year, but they can spring a surprise at home. They have beaten England at home. They've drawn series against Sri Lanka and Pakistan. They've got an impressive pace bowling attack, which includes Kemar Roach, Shannon Gabriel, Jason Holder and Alzari Joseph. So in comparison to West Indies, India have an inexperienced and aging bowling attack with Mohammad Shami being rested. It'll be interesting to see who gets the chance to share the new ball with Mohammad Siraj. Will it be Navdeep Saini? Will it be Jaydev Unadkat, the left armer, or the Bengal pacer who has been creating waves in the domestic circuit, Mukesh Kumar? So there are some important questions for India to decide on before the first test. I've already spoken to Vedam on the possible playing 11, the best possible playing 11, but I will come to him in just a bit. Let me get Chetan's reaction to this. Chetan, I think all the talk has been around 3 major points. Let's begin with the first one. Who is going to replace Cheteshwar Pujara? Who do you think India will replace Cheteshwar Pujara with? And do you have a preference?
Well, I don't think we have a like-for-like replacement for Cheteshwar Pujara. I think cricket has moved on from that traditional number 3 sense. And I don't think we'll see many batsmen like Cheteshwar Pujara even coming from the domestic circuit. Maybe Hanuma Vihari could have been one, but he hasn't been given that long rope, which is extended to a lot of other cricketers. My preference personally would be Shubman Gill. I think he hasn't started his his first-class career as an opening batsman. He was a makeshift opening batsman because India had a lot of injury issues. So I think now that he's proven himself to be of that particular quality, that he could be a leading, all format batsman for Indian cricket. So I think I would like to see him go to number 3, make that position his own. And I see him in somewhat in the Ricky Ponting mold, where he can attack and defend at will, depending on the situation of the game. And especially like somebody like Yashasvi Jaiswal, who's coming in with the left-right combination. Rohit Sharma is at the top of the order, because sooner or later, we'll also have to look for a replacement for Rohit Sharma. So Shubman Gill at number 3, Jaiswal to open with Rohit would be my choice going ahead into this first test match.
Okay, I know Vedam differs from that. I think Vedam wants Rohit Sharma to come down, and he's got a good reason for that, Vedam. Though I want to put this question up for our viewers as well. Do you think that's a good option? Rohit Sharma coming at 1 down, he can provide that solidity in the middle order. Let Shubman Gill be there. He's in the form of his life. Let Yashasvi Jaiswal open with him. That's what you believe in? You think that Rohit Sharma should be the number 3, at least for this series?
I do, but it's not just series specific, because like I said, this West Indies series is actually a stepping stone for many of these youngsters. And we need to look beyond just the series. And I think if you look at the long-term prospects of the Indian cricket team, I don't think Rohit Sharma is going to be there for too long in the Indian team. So it's better that he goes at number 3, where he can, at this stage, he can handle if there is a crisis. But you need these youngsters, both Jaiswal and Shubman Gill, right at the top. Shubman Gill, maybe like somebody said that he could become a number 4 batsman. Maybe that's in the future. But when I say the future, deep into the future. But I think right now what we need 2 young batsmen, left-right. Like Chetan said, I agree with him wholeheartedly. We need a left-right combination right there at the top, because we haven't had one for quite some time now. And we need that. It's actually a good thing to have put a mix over there. And I think Jaiswal is a natural opening batsman, and he should stay as an opening batsman. And you should cut some slack, like I said yesterday, and we need to give them a long rope. And I think Jaiswal and Gill would be ideal. But if there is a crisis, yes, you have Rohit Sharma at number 3, Virat Kohli at number 4. They can handle it. But looking at the long-term prospects of Indian cricket team and the Indian cricket, I would expect 2 youngsters actually to be thrown into the deep end. And if they can swim, very good for Indian cricket.
Can I tell you, I think this match for me is all about Yashasvi Jaiswal. Chetan, just the story, the hardships that he's faced in his life, to be here waiting for your test debut in the Caribbean at that age, it's fascinating, it's aspirational, it's what I think a lot of Indian boys would dream of doing, right? So I think that story, for me, I really want to see how Yashasvi Jaiswal plays here.
Meha, we have often heard the phrase, the American dream. I think Yashasvi Jaiswal is, reminds me of the Indian cricket dream, somebody who's coming from a very, very, simple background, who's had a, tough going, and then he's worked through it. He's, simple-minded focus on his cricket, trying to earn his straps. And he's done that through domestic cricket, through his IPL performances, and now he's on the verge of a test debut. So it's the Indian cricket dream, if you can say so, in parallel with the usual societal cliche of, the American dream. So it's somebody who's coming from a very simple background, following in the footsteps of somebody like an MS Dhoni or a Suresh Raina, who come from simpler backgrounds and made it big on the international stage. And, he's shown, the way he's learned through the domestic cricket, experience, through the IPL experience, that he's ready for, all formats. He's somebody who's not just going on the attack all the time, but he tempers his batting, waits for the bad ball and punishes the bad ball, plays the situation as the cliche goes. So I'm very excited for Yashasvi Jaiswal. I'm very excited, just as you are. I'm very excited to, for his test debut, and I really hope that he becomes an all-format batsman for Indian cricket going ahead. And I think he can. the way he's played in this recent IPL. Because the one thing that stood out for me was that he was learning from one of the best batsmen in world cricket at the moment, Joss Butler, at the other end. That was a proper tutelage. So if that is, if that doesn't mature or help Indian cricket, doesn't help Yashasvi Jaiswal, I don't know what will. So just can't wait for his debut. Just on what Vedam said, I would prefer Rohit Sharma to continue opening, because throughout the years that he was coming into the Indian Test side, Rohit Sharma has had his own struggles in the Indian Test side. He started at number 5, then at number 3, number 4, when Virat was sometimes not available. He was shuffled up and down. Finally, he's found his spot at the top of the order. He doesn't have too much Test cricket left in him. So let's just keep him there. He's the captain. Let's just, let him stay at number 1, open the innings, and Shubman Gill could be that long-term answer. That's just my personal opinion. Because we're looking, while there's the transition that's also happening and the seniors are also having to prove their worth again, we also need to look at long-term plans. Shubman Gill at number 3 for the next 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, that's a very, very exciting prospect for Indian cricket.
Just coming back to Yashasvi Jaiswal, 2 things, Vedam. One is how to make sure, the kind of talent that he has, how to make sure that he's nurtured in the right manner, he's mentored in the right manner. We've seen what has happened with Prithvi Shaw, another Mumbai batter. Second, is this also, we don't know whether Yashasvi Jaiswal is going to bat at 3 or whether he's going to open, but whoever bats at 3 is not likely to bat like the way Cheteshwar Pujara did. So is this also a start of a new way of playing at number 3? Because I feel like whoever comes next is going to be far more attacking than Pujara was. And maybe that's the way forward now in Test cricket.
No, we don't really know if that's the way forward, because this baseball business has thrown everybody into a different trajectory. But Test cricket is still 5 days, and we still want to play for 5 days. But ultimate thing is you need to get runs. Whether you get it by hanging on there for a long time or you throw your batter out, you need to get runs. But having said that, yes, Jaiswal, I would like him to open. Even if it doesn't come good right now, you need a left-hand opening batsman there. And look, he is the most promising young batsman we have in India right now. There's no doubt about it. And he is hungry. Everything that he has done so far, we know he is hungry. He's hungry for success, and he will do well. And like Chetan said, he had Butler at the other end. And what was really remarkable about that partnership was, he didn't look inadequate right next to Butler. He looked as good as Butler. That is fantastic, for you to say that this youngster was, matching Butler stroke for stroke, or he didn't look awkward or inadequate at any stage. That is an amazing statement to make. And we saw this. It was not just one match, time after time after time. So which means he's already been hardened by IPL cricket. We might diss IPL cricket for a whole lot of things, but let's also not forget the fact that, you toughen out in IPL cricket. It shows you what you are. It shows your mettle. And we've seen this with Jaiswal time and again. He's matched Butler. And what better compliment can you pay for the guy? This is the right time now to blood him, get him into Test cricket, get him to open the batting where he's had success, at various forms of cricket, and give him a free hand. At least allow him, give him the comfort of, maybe 3 tests or 4 tests or 5 tests or whatever, because like I said, he is your best bet right now.
And that's why I asked that question, which I'm going to put to Chetan as well. The mentoring him part, guiding him, make sure he doesn't lose his way. And the importance of that for some of these youngsters. He's very young. And, he's really making this big leap. He comes from a humble background. He suddenly found this fame in the IPL. Now he's going to be playing Test cricket. I hope it's all well. But that is one thing that needs to be avoided, right?
Absolutely. When he struck that century in the IPL, I tweeted that, my wish for Yashasvi Jaiswal is that he stays grounded, and that, this fame and success doesn't go to his head, because you need that single-minded focus. And I think you have the likes of Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli in the side. That's where you need to follow their example. Somebody like a Virat Kohli, why he's idolized by so many young cricketers, because he had that single-minded focus ever since, he got that opening that he needs to work hard, expand on his talent, and make it big on the international arena. And irrespective of all the debate about form, that is what Virat Kohli has precisely done. So I think, somebody like a Yashasvi Jaiswal doesn't need to look too far ahead. Just look across the dressing room, see Virat Kohli, go talk to him, and Virat will be very helpful in, guiding him. So I think you just need to follow the example of somebody like a Virat Kohli. Just keep your attention span and do what Virat Kohli did. Just work hard and, just focus on cricket and everything will follow. And this is not just for Yashasvi Jaiswal, but also for Shubman Gill, because these are two bright sparks for Indian cricket, and all fingers crossed for them. I hope they become all format batsmen for us, because God knows Indian cricket needs them right now.
Absolutely. Okay. Now, I've got to ask you both this. The other big question, we've already spoken about who will fill in that spot at number 3. What about the wicketkeeper batter? Is it going to be Ishan Kishan, or are India going to stick with Bharat? Bharat's been given enough opportunities. He's played 5 test matches, hasn't been as impressive with the bat, Chetan. And I think that's where the problem is, isn't that so? That he's a great keeper, but hasn't impressed with his batting. Do you think he'll be given another opportunity, or is it finally time to let Ishan Kishan come in? Again, he's not Rishabh Pant, but he can play a bit like Rishabh Pant. He can disrupt the opposition bowlers' plans. Give him an opportunity?
I think given the way the Indian team management works out, I think they will give Bharat another opportunity. I think West Indies will, if not his last opportunity, but another opportunity for him to come good with the bat. Yes, he's very good behind the stumps, but in the 4 test match in Ahmedabad or in the WTC final, I wasn't really impressed with his glove work. So he's been kind of middle to average with his glove work on the international arena, considering that the 3 test matches that he played against Australia were on ranked turners. So he's just there and thereabouts. Of course, it's a big leap from first-class cricket or IPL cricket to the international arena to test cricket, where you have so many different conditions across 5 days. So I think, all fairness, he will be given another shot. I personally wanted Ishan Kishan in the WTC final to give that impetus in the middle order. But now I think the batting lineup is going to change a bit with, that number 3 spot changing. Somebody new, somebody fresh coming in there to score perhaps a tad quicker. Maybe we can still look at Bharat for this test series at least. If he doesn't score runs now, then of course you can't really hold Ishan Kishan back, or even Sanju Samson, who's been making hits. He just needs to go and score some runs in first class cricket again to make a name for himself. So Bharat may be one more chance, and then we'll see what happens in the long run.
Though I wonder if you're looking at either of them as your future wicketkeeper batter in case Rishabh Pant takes longer than what is expected with him, because that's the other thing. We don't know when Rishabh Pant's going to come back. We just hope he gets better as quickly as he can. He keeps putting these videos out where he's walking. He's doing some kind of exercise for his injury, and the rehab's going well, but we still don't know at what point will he be able to return to competitive cricket. And that's why I asked the question that if you look at both Shikhar Bharat as well as Ishan Kishan, are these your 2 wicketkeeper batters for the future? Are you going to zero in on one, or is this just short cap arrangement?
See, we can only dwell on what we have. There's no point in talking about Rishabh Pant unless he comes back and starts playing Ranji Trophy and a whole lot of other cricket. So till then, we don't even need to worry about Rishabh Pant. Now, what is it that we have? We have Bharat and we have Ishan Kishan. Now, I would still believe that the best wicketkeeper we have in India is Wriddhiman Saha. But, he's got age against him and he's also injury prone. So next to him, definitely it would be Bharat. But there are a lot of things that we need to take into consideration. We need bowlers who will bowl, not bowlers who will go and bat and get runs. Likewise, you need wicketkeepers who would keep well, not wicketkeepers who would go bat. If they can bat, like a Dhoni could or Adam Gilchrist could, then it's a bonus. But his primary job is to keep wickets. We are seeing already in the Ashes, Bairstow looks so awful, and he's giving so many chances to the opposition. They are banked on somebody who can bat rather than, a wicketkeeper who can keep wickets. And we shouldn't be making that same mistake, especially since ours is a spin-dominated attack. Whatever may be the pace attack that we have, we still need our spinners. I don't think India will ever play, minimum. We'll have minimum of 2 spinners. We're not going to play all fast bowlers. It might happen once in 100 test matches, but otherwise we'll have at least 1 or 2 spinners and usually 2 spinners. So to keep to 2 spinners, you need a wicketkeeper with good reach, with good reflexes, and with good technique. And I think this is where Bharat scores over Ishan Kishan. I'm not even looking at the batting aspect of it at all. So we don't even know if Ishan Kishan will come good or Bharat will come good, who will come good. Just on sheer keeping ability, I think Bharat scores over him. And we should stick with your best wicketkeeper, because one chance, if it goes up against one of the top batsmen, then you will have to pay dearly for it. And it's with the bowling attack that we have, it's better that we bank on a good wicketkeeper.
Okay, so have the clarity, make sure that you have a good wicketkeeper, and then he can be a good batter. Let's also talk about India's bowling attack. Now, the way the squad is, Chetan, it seems like India have no choice but to play Ravindra Jadeja and Ravichandran Ashwin for their batting more than their bowling. But the inexperienced pace attack, how big a problem is that for India? And is that something that West Indies will look to exploit? I mean, that really is their weakest link.
Are you sure? I think the batting is still the weakest link, given all the changes and the kind of form we've had these major batsmen over the last 2 years. But yes, I mean, the pace attack, resting Mohammad Shami was a good idea, because you obviously need him for the ODIs coming up in the Asia Cup and the World Cup, and you don't really want another injured fast bowler at this stage. Jaydev Unadkat should be able to do the job, because he's had a good first-class season. He's been having a couple of good first-class seasons, and he's been in and around the test side. I think he even made it to the Bangladesh side, the Bangladesh tour last December. Navdeep Saini is coming back. I think he's been very, very exciting whenever he's been fit. So among the three of them, Siraj, Unadkat and Saini, they should be able to do the job. But let's not forget, we also have Shardul Thakur. So we still have 4 decently experienced bowlers on the international arena, so they should be able to handle, no disrespect, but they should be able to handle the West Indies lineup. Siraj has really grown leaps and bounds with the red ball and the white ball. So, and he is obviously someday going to take over the mantle of the leader of the attack. So I want to see him in that particular role. Perhaps he will perform that role this time around on this West Indies tour. I'm still not sure if both Ashwin and Jadeja will play. I mean, if it's another green top, they might go for 3 pacers, Shardul, and they'll.
Don't think they're going to make that mistake. No.
They have to drop Ashwin, don't they? So let's let's not take it for granted that both spinners will play. But yeah, ideally it should be 3 pacers and 2 spinners going ahead, irrespective of conditions, opposition. That should be the scenario in every overseas test match.
I think you're being too kind when it comes to India's pace attack. Let's not forget. Let's not forget that these are bowlers who are prone to injury. And I mean, you look at this pace attack, Vedam, and you wonder, where is that one bowler who has express pace? Mukesh Kumar doesn't have the experience. Navdeep Saini is meant to have that pace, but will he have it? We don't know. So there's so much uncertainty around the bowlers who've been chosen. You can't say for sure what will Jaydev Unadkat be like. I mean, I know he's a Ranji legend, but in international cricket, are you really seeing him as the one person who's going to change the match around? I don't know. I don't have that kind of belief that Chetan has on this pace attack.
See, look at the opposition. West Indies, their batsmen, irrespective of where they come from or what they do, they're brought up on a diet of fast bowling. Even at a club level, the local level, the international level, whichever level if you look at it, they're brought up on a diet of fast bowling. That's why even some of their best batsmen, you see them struggling against spin bowling, because they haven't been exposed enough to it, except for a Brian Lara or somebody like that who had that class. Even in the last few years that you can see, some of their best batsmen are clueless. And even in IPL now, most of the time, when Chris Gayle was batting, somebody like Ashwin used to go and bowl, open the bowling against him and get him out, even with Russell. And, he doesn't play the spin so well. So I think keeping that in mind, I think we should also have a couple of good spinners. We have three fast bowlers, but like you said, they're not going to cause sleepless nights to anybody. And the West Indies, usually it's a two-pace, two-bounce wicket. And if they can get that sort of a wicket, then maybe you never know. Maybe the taller, faster bowlers would be handy, but you can never discount what would happen on a bad track. On a good track, always the 9 out of 10 times the better team will win. But on a bad track, it's an open season. Anybody can do well. So we don't know what are the sort of pitches that are going to come up in the West Indies.
Yeah.
But let's also not forget that West Indies have a history of outstanding batsmen. You can go right back. Maybe now they're struggling in the last 7 or 8 years. They don't have that kind of a batsman. But I like the way that they have, I think there are 3 or 4 youngsters whom we really haven't seen, who are being put into the squad. So we don't know who will come good. I still remember when they had I wouldn't say a bad team, but when they were struggling against Pakistan team, suddenly they threw up Joel Garner and Colin Croft and a whole lot of other guys whom we had never heard of. So maybe there's a cycle, and I would like to think that the West Indies will come out of that cycle much quicker. They've been at the low for a very, very long time. Maybe it's time for them to rise again, because they have a cricket culture in the West Indies. It's not that like some of the other islands. They have a cricket culture in every single island of theirs, and it's just a question of time before they come back and find their feet. The added advantage for them is if they impress the Indian franchise owners, they get a chance to play in England. Beg your pardon, in America, in the IPL, in UAE, and a whole lot of other places. So I think a young West Indies would really like to impress more the Indian franchise owners than his own selectors.
Okay, but I like I love this conversation every time we have about West Indies and cricket romantics. I think all of us, what we've heard of, how the West Indies team was and the kind of players that it had. You really want them to play well. You really want them to come good. Maybe not against India, but I think it was heartbreaking for a lot of people to see West Indies not qualify for the ODI World Cup. Now, here's a question for you. Since 2010, who has been India's highest run scorer in the West Indies? I'll give you a hint. It is not Virat Kohli. So, if you've guessed Ajinkya Rahane, give yourselves a pat on the back. You are right. It is Rahane who scored 514 runs at an average of 102.8. And if you talk about remarkable turnarounds in Indian cricket in recent times, this one would be it. Since being left out of the team in February 2022, he went back to the grind of domestic cricket, then impressed one and all with his boundary-hitting transformation in the IPL. He was selected for the World Test Championship final because of his experience, where he was India's best batter with the scores of 89 and 46. Now, he is in the Indian side, which is playing the first Test match in the West Indies as the vice-captain. He was asked about making a comeback at 35 years of age, and he was slightly upset at that question, though he took it lightly, saying, "Is age mein matlab?" I'm going to put that quote up. You can watch that video as well if you get the time, but he says, "Is age mein matlab, I'm still young, yaar. There's still a lot of cricket in me," he said. I've had a good IPL and domestic season. I've grown in confidence as a batter, but in the past 1.5 years, I've also worked a lot on my fitness. He goes on to add that I have worked on few aspects of my batting. At the moment, I'm enjoying my cricket. I'm not thinking too much about the future. For now, every match is important for me. I'm a natural stroke player, so just my role has changed. I always look to fulfill the role assigned to me, and here also I will look to fulfill the role that Rohit gives me. It is really, ageism, and in cricket, Chetan, cricketers want to avoid it. They don't want to be asked that question. They know they've got a small, short career. And when they're asked that question, of course, it is irritating. And I think he took it well in that little clip that's going viral on social media. But it cannot be easy for these players, right? Because they're not asked about their performance. They're asked about, oh, you're 35, you're making a comeback. How does that feel?
Well, it's it's not going to feel good when you're asked on the age factor and not your performances. I mean, the question should have been about his performances in the WTC final rather than his age, because age is, after all, just another number. And he's immensely fit. He's one of the fittest cricketers, probably the second fittest after Virat Kohli in that Indian side. Um, I think he's done well over the last year or so that he's been out of the Indian team. And let's not forget, it's not the first time a 30-plus cricketer who's coming back to the Indian side. I mean, Saurav Ganguly's case is the most talked about case of, a cricketer going back to domestic cricket, doing well, and then coming back. And we all know what happened in that scenario. So, and of course, the boundaries have been really stretched given the fitness standards nowadays. I mean, you look at MS Dhoni, he's going to be, 43 now? Next year, when he's going to finish playing another season of IPL, hopefully. Sachin Tendulkar played till 40. Look at James Anderson, look at Stuart Broad, what they're doing. So by those standards, I think, and his own fitness standards, I think Ajinkya Rahane is still very young. The question should have been about performance, really, because, he performed well in the WTC. And like he said, he needs to perform every time he goes out to bat, because there's so many question marks regarding his selection, regarding the other senior selections, and also regarding those who are scoring runs in first-class cricket. I mean, someone like Sarfaraz Khan, whether for right or wrong, he was not included in the side. There's always going to be a question mark about him.
Yeah.
Shreyas Iyer, if he was fit, would he have been part of the side? Surya Kumar Yadav, yes, he's probably not the best test batsman or not the best first-class record. I know he scored some big runs in first-class cricket, but also the fact that he's been picked for the last two times, the selectors have picked a test side for English condition, in 21 and then again in 22. But he's yet to make his test debut. And he's suddenly vanished from the test radar. So a lot of questions need to be asked about the players who've not been selected and the players who have been selected. So I think what he said about performing every time he goes out to bat, I think that is the most relevant part of it. And that's been his career story, to be honest. That every time he's gone out to bat, he's been under the spotlight. He's been judged by different parameters. We all remember how he was dropped in 2018 in South Africa, which was grossly unfair because he was also the vice captain at that particular time. So kind of payback that he's still the vice captain. He's come back after one test match, made vice captain again. So look, I wish him well. I hope it works out for him, however long he plays test cricket. But I think the question is again about the performance and not just his performance. I think we also need to ask a question about Virat Kohli's performance, who's not averaged more than 30 in the last 3 years of test cricket. So, yeah,
absolutely. Okay. The other thing being that stands out for me in that interview is that he was asked about his role with him. Two things. He says, I'm a natural stroke player, so just my role has changed. I always look to fulfill the role assigned to me here. Also, I'll look to fulfill that role that Rohit gives me. Do you see his role changing at all, given that now he's like this boundary hitting genius and what he did with CSK? And the other thing, vice captaincy. Have we taken a step back by making him the vice captain, or would you say, come on, he was being rewarded and he was the vice captain before he comes back into the side as a senior player? Why not?
I would say uneasy lies ahead. That where's the vice captain's throne? Because we've seen in Indian cricket.
It's a game of musical chairs, this vice captain's
It's not just musical chairs. It's the shortest way to get rid of a guy. Make him a vice captain, and within a series or two, he's gone. That's how we've seen Indian cricket. Because we don't believe a vice captain is actually to groom him to become a captain. I don't know when was the last time we had a vice captain whom we groomed and made him captain. Maybe Virat Kohli, but beyond that, I can't see, because even the way Rohit Sharma was made captain was different. So I'm not so sure that being a vice captain is such a great thing in Indian cricket at all. If they really want to groom, then they should go for somebody who's young, who will be there for the next 4 or 5 years. But let's look at this cricket scene really seriously. If not for Jaiswal and Shubman Gill, this is a dad's army. Whether we like it or not, it's a dad's army. You got Virat Kohli, you got Rohit Sharma, you got Ashwin, you got Rahane, you got a whole lot of guys, who are on the wrong side of 30. Or, so I don't think this is the way to go forward. There are a lot of instances when cricketers have done well, But then when you want to build a team for the future, you need to tell them thank you and move on. And you don't say thank you to your, three seniors. It has to be one at a time. So you have to decide who it's going to be for this series if you're going to build a team for the future. So I would always qualify Rahane's performance and position, because had he scored as heavily, let's say when Sachin Tendulkar was batting, he had great support from Rahul Dravid, from Virendra Sehwag, from VVS Lakshman. Virat Kohli has not had that kind of support. Neither Rohit Sharma nor Rahane have really lived up to that kind of batting form, where the Kohli could depend on them or somebody else could bank on them. After you're 30, you've played so much of cricket, you've been given so many chances. Yeah, you'd like to think that you know how to play, the West Indies bowlers or West Indies pitchers. But I given a choice, he's there, so you have to play him, and you have to, maybe he's the right number 5 batsman for you right now. But if you look at the long-term prospects, it's a wrong choice of vice captain, I should say straight away. And maybe he could have been rested for this series, and we could have unearthed another young batsman, because it doesn't say much of Indian cricket when you have to have so many people on the wrong side of 30 playing even against the West Indies, especially this West Indies, which is a weak West Indies team.
Okay, now what you're seeing on your screens are the stills of Indian team in their new jersey. That's the new jersey. And the BCCI got slammed for this as well. I don't know if you read about this, Chetan, where first, before they left for the West Indies, it had on the chest, they had India written, and now they have Dream 11. And fans have slammed the BCCI after those images because, they've replaced that with the team sponsor. But just coming back to this whole conversation about vice captaincy. And I want to ask you this. Rohit Sharma's captaincy and the fact that he's being slammed by Sunil Gavaskar right before the start of the series. How do you think that would impact Rohit, the captain, who's also not scoring runs as a batter?
I think we live in an age where, the present day cricketers don't, they have a really thick skin. They don't really care, but they know that, there's going to be comments out there. If not Sunil Gavaskar, then Ravi Shastri will speak, or Saurav Ganguly will speak. Somebody or other will keep on speaking, because, we live in that particular age. So they have a bit of a thick skin. I don't think Rohit Sharma will be impacted with those words. But the big question mark is that what were the selectors doing? Because the question should, Mr. Gavaskar should also ask this question. I said this on another show as well, that Mr. Gavaskar should also ask this question of the BCCI, that why didn't they select a chairman of selector before the test side was selected? Why after the test side? Because probably they could have laid down a vision for the future, a marker for the future. And yes, I agree with him that selecting Rahane as the vice captain is not really a good option this time around, because, if you are going to continue with Rohit Sharma or probably bring in another senior as a stopgap test captain, you could have had somebody like a Shubman Gill to groom him for future captaincy. So that could have been the better move. And now, look, we don't have another test series for another 6 months or so. So this is a kind of opportunity lost. And
so I think the idea was, I'm sorry to just cut you, but the idea was that they didn't want to burden Shubman Gill with the vice captaincy, just as he was trying to find his place in Test cricket. Whether it's right or wrong, that's debatable. Whether it's right or wrong, that's debatable. But I've got to take this before I wrap this up, because we're kind of running out of time. So you all saw what happened. I put that quote up of Ajinkya Rahane when he was asked about his age. Now, in that same video, Rohit Sharma was watching Ajinkya Rahane while he was being asked these questions, and he was there because there weren't enough reporters. West Indies is one of those places where not too many reporters end up going. So Ajinkya Rahane was there. There were just a couple of reporters there, and Rohit Sharma was in a playful mood. Just like Chetan was saying, that doesn't look like they are impacted by all the noise outside, because what he did was he took over the reporting duties, and like I said, there was a press conference time for Rahane, and in the conversation then Rohit asked a question to Rahane and said, how come how you've come to the West Indies many times, you've played a lot in these wickets, scored runs, so what would you say to the youngsters in the side who are touring the Caribbean islands for the first time? And Rahane also took his role very seriously and answered, saying, my message to the youngsters will be to be patient. That is important if you want to score runs here. And then Rohit went on to ask another question. So like you were saying, Chetan, I think they seem relaxed. I don't see all the opinions and all the criticism about this Indian team at least reach all the way to the Caribbean islands. I think that's the one place where all these cricketers are very relaxed, and we could see that in that video.
Meha, they were relaxed after losing the WTC final, so I'm sure they were very relaxed in the West Indies right now. It's the Caribbean, and really fancy beaches and really nice views of the ocean and some really good calypso cricket. So yeah, I mean, Indian cricket has a thick skin nowadays.
Have you been to the Caribbean to cover a series?
Yeah,
twice.
Lucky enough. Once, 2016.
Okay.
2016.
Okay. When Ashwin played and Jadeja didn't, and he scored 100.
Yes, those were the days when Ashwin used to play.
Okay, out of time, guys. Thank you so much, Vedam Jaishankar, Chetan Narula. It was a fun discussion. We're all looking forward to this test series. And like we've been saying, this is a period of transition for Indian cricket, and everything from here on. It'll be interesting to see how Indian cricket moves forward. And the start would be with this first test against the West Indies that starts tomorrow in Dominica. We'll keep an eye on all that happens in the Caribbean, throughout this tour. News 9 Live is what you need to subscribe to for all the latest from the world of sports. That's it from us. Goodbye. Thanks for watching.
ChatGPT. It can generate codes and human-like responses through text, write stories, and do a lot more.
I work in a newsroom with anchors, researchers and scriptwriters, graphic artists, producers, video editors, camera crew. But does a newsroom really need them today?
All of us have to think about unique and distinctive value addition that cannot be automated or repeated or replaced by a machine.
ChatGPT may kill many companies.
A human has to be in the loop with an ability to control this.
Dark Side of the Boom. Streaming now.
So to me, somewhere I feel you're both a creator and a destroyer, like a Lord Shiva and Brahma in one. You created all these businesses, but finally most of the businesses either it has lost out on the way, even the successful one, you've lost control, or you in some other you have lost the leadership. Do you, like you are a creator, it was your own creation, do you also hold yourself responsible some way?
No business which was successful